Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back in the studio, and I love this show. I probably don't feel as good or excited any more than I possibly can feel when I start this show out on Saturdays. So glad that Nancy and I are back and that we're able to bring you a full show again. We had some little illness in the family, actually both of us, and we're back. We're back strong, and we're feeling good. I just can't believe the changes and the opportunities available to you now in the automotive buying retailer. We're talking about auto retail, manufacturing. The whole world automotive situation is so exciting, and it's just fun to talk about. I mean, America has always been, since Henry Ford or before, excited about their automobiles. The rest of the world, China's coming in there. So it's an American phenomenon, really. We love our cars, and we lead the world in technology, although we've got some countries that are nipping at our heels, but that's good. Competition is a great thing. And whereas manufacturing, design, and technology are moving fast, the retailing is moving along. The one negative thing and the reason this show exists is the negative thing about way cars are retailed. And that's why we're here to help you, protect you, actually. The automobile dealer, it's a franchise system in all 50 states, is the way that cars are sold to you. The people, the reason cars exist, because you want to buy them and drive them. So the auto dealers just don't treat you right. And in full disclosure, we are auto dealers on this show. We have a Toyota dealership in North Palm Beach, Florida. So we've been there. We understand both sides of the story completely. I mean, I was personally in the start of 1968 in the car business with a Pontiac dealership. Now we just have the Toyota dealership in North Palm Beach. So we're on the inside. We know what dealers do because we're dealers. But we also have become consumer advocates, and that's what this show is all about. And that leads me to say that you are the show. You make the show, and you will hear me give out a telephone number. I'm going to give it out right now. My apologies to our regular listeners. And when I say regular, I'm talking 20 years. So you're probably getting tired of hearing this number, but we got to do it because we have a huge number of new listeners, and your participation really makes the show. Your comments, your questions, your criticisms. Live radio, there's nothing like it. I mean, and let me correct myself, this is really live television. I'm an old guy. Streaming is the modern word. We stream everything. And so we're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming directly. The good old-fashioned number that I'm going to give you right now is this, 877-960-9960. Please think about writing it down. Grab a pencil or pen if you don't have one, and we will give it out frequently if we're doing our job. For 2 hours, we're on from 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just about now, to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we get calls from all over the United States and other countries, and we're growing and growing and growing. And every little area of the country is a little bit different. So again, here comes the number. Got your pencil? You got your pen? Got your iPhone? 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. And we have a text number, of course. I mean, unfortunately, phone calls are declining in importance to a lot of people, and they're moving to text and email. Actually, they moved to email. Now they're moving to text. I don't know what'll be next. Probably mind reading. I'm not sure. But the text number is 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. We got some other ways to reach us too, and we'll be talking about it. So I'm going to turn the microphones over to my co-host shortly. Her name is Nancy Stewart. That's because we're married, and she was a co-founder of the show 20 years ago, and she has made this show co-ed. Used to be an old guys school where people would the old guys would call up, or the old car lovers. I shouldn't call them old guys. Car lovers, car buffs. Men are nutty about cars. Women are smart about cars. We buy cars, we men, we buy cars with emotion. And, how fast will it go 0 to 60? Back in my day, how big the tail fins were. And now, we're technically oriented and we're not grounded like the ladies. So what Nancy's done is turned this show into a co-ed. We have 50-50 now, ladies and men. And she's done that for a lot of reasons. First of all, the women like to hear her because she expresses the female point of view, but also because she has a special offer. It's a valuable offer to new callers to the show. And she's going to explain this to you in just a second as soon as I turn the mic over to you. And I will promise you this. If you call the show, especially if you're a lady, but anybody calling the show, we are going to prioritize your phone call. We've only got 5 phone lines coming in to the studio here in North Palm Beach, Florida, and it gets tied up pretty fast. And sometimes people wait and wait. They're on hold, and they're talking to our production guy, and they just can't wait anymore. And when that happens, we feel real bad. So we move very quickly, we try, to your phone calls. And with that said, I'm going to turn the phone over to Nancy Stewart, my co-host.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Boy, do we have a busy show this morning, so I better start talking fast. Earl mentioned women and their impact on the automotive industry. And, I want to tell you that it's very interesting statistics, for sure. Sure, I give ladies $50 for the first 2 new lady callers, but there's more meaning to that. It is more or less an encouragement and letting you know that your voice is, it's very important for us to hear from you and our audience. But more importantly, does anybody know the impact that women have on the auto industry? Do you realize that $300 billion, $300 billion a year is spent on car purchases and maintenance by women? Yes, by women. We certainly have a financial impact on the auto industry, and there's some dealers out there that just don't get it. Also, an interesting statistic is that today more women than men walk into a dealership alone to buy a car. That's, I never thought the day would come whenever I could make that statement, but indeed it's very true. And this has been more or less like a insidious adoration kind of a thing, if you will. And over 70% of women won't return to a dealership after just one bad experience. So there you go, ladies. Please give us a call this morning. Share your experience with us. Were you respected? Did you have a fantastic experience in the dealership or even on the phone with to whomever you were speaking? Give us a call toll free, 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. You can also text us this morning at 772-497-6530. And here's an interesting bit of information that's in the news. Did you hear about Mazda's advanced safety tech that aims for 0 fatalities by 2040? Earl will He'll elaborate on that
Well,
later on.
19,000 deaths last year. I mean, if that happened anywhere in the world in a disaster or a war, we just take traffic deaths for granted. But
Yeah.
good Lord, 19,000 last year.
Yeah. In 2024, there was an estimated 39,000.
Okay, well, 39,000. It's such a big number, yeah. I mean,
39,345 people died. It just goes on. It's
Yeah.
interesting. So anybody out there that wants to take a look at the statistics, go to ChatGPT, our favorite place, and you can learn all about it. We have a great mystery shopping report, as usual, and that mystery shopping report is from DJC. That's Dodge Jeep Chrysler in Daytona. So we are going to go straight to the phones. I see where Johnny has been holding from Delray. Good morning, Johnny.
Hi, this is John, the guy who cleans his engines. But I got a question for Rick. I got a 2019 Hyundai Kona, and the last time I went in to get my oil change, the people said you have hardly any oil in the crankcase. Now, I'm not burning oil, I'm not leaking oil, and there's no oil anywhere to be found. But they said those engines have a tendency to use up oil, and I don't know how true it is, but I've been watching my oil every month, and I always add a little bit in. Do you know what the reason for that is?
Yeah, you're burning it. It's being burned in the engine.
Okay, so I should keep an eye on it then, huh?
Yes.
John, let me jump in there for a minute, too. Here's an interesting thing that consumers usually aren't made aware of, and I can understand why. Every car, regardless of make or model that comes off the assembly line, burns oil a little differently. So you could have a Honda Accord with the exact same equipment and year, make, and model, and everything else, and one of them would burn twice as much oil as the other one. The manufacturers, and again, this is all kind of secretly done, the manufacturers give the dealer, and we're a Toyota dealer, so Toyota tells us, okay, this model year and make should burn this much oil between this and this amount. So it's a pretty big spread. Rick probably knows more than I do about the actual spread, but unless you fall within what the manufacturer says is normal, and we have customers that have to come in every 2 or 3 months to get their oil checked, and we have other ones that don't come in for every 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's really crazy the range that they go. Rick, what is the difference in the within one year, make, model car?
Well, the one thing that I can tell you that is black and white that you will find, this is a true fact, Toyota, in every owner's manual that comes in a brand new Toyota, there is a line in there that says that your car, through normal use, can use as much as 1 quart of oil for every 1,000 miles that you drive. Now, this means that when Toyota says that the first oil change interval,
and that's true for all makes, they all have the same.
They're all going to have that in there. But if you're set to do 10,000 miles per oil change in your car could technically use up to 10 quarts of oil in that 10,000 mile range, and Toyota would still say, "Oh no, that's normal." Although I say it's not. I say that's wrong. But that's just me, and I certainly have no power over the mega corporations of Toyota, Ford, Honda, Hyundai. But they all have that little weasel clause. So yeah, unfortunately, the cars that sometimes the tolerances just aren't right, and they do use, some engines will use a little more. They say up to 1,000 miles, 1 quart of oil per 1,000 miles, and that's why they tell you to check your oil at least once a month to see how much oil you're using. And unfortunately, there is that weasel clause they put in there.
Wow, that's very interesting. But I've been, I'm 73 years old, and I never knew that until just now. But I've always checked my oil on my cars from pushing a horse and buggy
John, check
Yeah.
your owner's manual. If you don't have one, you can get one online or find one. Of the dealership might even have one to give you. But get your owner's manual, and you might be able to access it online anyway without having to have the hard copy, and see what kind of vehicle do you have? What year, make, model?
2019 Hyundai Kona.
Okay, well, Hyundai, and see what the Hyundai owner's manual for that model says it should burn. It probably has, like Toyota does, it probably has a suggestion as to what it can burn up to, so you don't have to worry about it. I don't know that Hyundai does, but Toyota does, and the Hyundai dealer, should know. And if you're outside the average, then you have an issue that is not related to normal. All normal is, it means at the low end of the tolerance for the manufacturer of your components in your engine that do the ignition and everything, there's a range, and you need to know what that is before you become too worried about something. If that's the way it is, there's nothing you can do about it. If it's outside the tolerances, you might be able to get some help from Hyundai, the manufacturer.
Yeah, because I just turned 98,000 miles, and I've changed, the 100,000 mile checkup of everything that has to be done
Yeah.
to keep my car up more beyond than most people do. But yeah, I was just curious about that. But that was very valuable information.
Well, I'm glad we could help you on that issue. Most people don't know that. It's not something the manufacturers like to brag about. The average person, when they buy a car today, and they see if you've got 6 Hyundais of the exact year, make, and model stand side by side, you like to think they're all identical, but they definitely are not identical. They're identical in a lot of ways, but they're also different in a lot of ways. And I guess there's no practical way you could determine the oil consumption by a test drive. So you're kind of rolling the dice when you do that. Might be a good reason to lease a car, and then and if you like the way the oil consumption is, exercise your option to purchase it at the end of the lease. At least that gives you an escape hatch in case you get one of these oil burners.
Okay, I thank you very much.
You're welcome, Johnny. Give us a call again. Have a great weekend. Our number here is 877-960-9960. Rick, I have a question for you on newer vehicles. Under normal, driving conditions, would you say that they burn a lot less oil? I'm saying maybe even less than a quart.
The much newer cars are burning a lot less oil. Just like Earl and I were talking before the show about how medical advancements are like increasing the knowledge of medical advances. The quality in cars has been increasing a huge amount. A car that is right now, say my pickup that's 12 years old, it's the quality on that engine, although it was great, the newer ones are even better.
Yeah, that's a perfect
and so
example.
yeah, they're going to use less oil,
Yeah.
but they still leave that weasel clause in there, and it can have to do with such things as your driving habits
Driving
too.
conditions.
People that do little short trips just here and there and never really get the car up to operating temperature, that's going to cause carbon buildup and things that are going to make the car burn more oil. That's one of the reasons why I recommend often is, if you don't do a lot of driving, just do those little short trips to the grocery store and back. Once every couple of weeks, take your car out on the highway and just drive for 30 or 40 miles.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your dishwasher. It gets all that oil gets nice and hot, works that hot oil around and breaks up all those deposits and gets them out of the engine and cleans everything up, and it'll make your car last longer.
Yeah, and you know what? That's great information that Rick gives just about every Saturday morning. There's so many of our listeners who will call and say they're going on vacation, and he talks about this exercise that your vehicle needs. So there you have it.
Well, I can say my 12-year-old Tacoma with 185,000 miles on it probably doesn't use a quart of oil in 10,000 miles.
No kidding. That's interesting. Wow. That you said it has 185,000 miles?
Yeah, that's all. It's still a young
Wow.
truck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'll get 350,000 out of it, easy.
Exactly. We're going to go to one of our favorite callers, female callers, and she's, I passed her the baton quite some time ago, and I don't thank her very often, but her contribution to the show is showing her support for me, and also, the flip side of the coin, she's encouraging women to call the show, to express themselves. And with what I shared with you this morning about the effect that women have on the auto industry, we are certainly holding the auto industry together positively. We have had a huge impact on the auto industry, and not a lot of men or women know that. Yes, we have invested, females have invested more money in the auto industry. So you would think by now that they would be treated with respect, and they would be treated like, if they're not treated right, they're going to turn around and just walk away. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Trish. Hey, Trish. Good morning.
Morning. Wow, I feel honored.
I'm glad you do. I hope that there's all kinds of women who are listening to the two of us, and they will take your lead.
Well, I hope so, yes. Listen to Nancy. Call in.
Thanks, Tricia.
Anyway, I'm so glad both of you are feeling better, because it was a long time that we, missed you.
Thank you.
For many weeks, but I'm glad you're feeling better. Now, I have a 3-part question, so I'm going to go quickly so I don't take up too much of your time. We talked last week about, my rotors, and Rick suggested maybe having them resurfaced, yada, yada, yada. I spoke to my guy. He said, no, the rotors are cheap enough just to get new ones, okay? They're cheap enough. If you resurface them, they'll warp again. So he suggested just getting new ones.
Easy for him to say.
Okay? Probably because he doesn't have a resurfacing machine. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I found out a few weeks ago, I forgot to ask you this, that my oil was slightly overfilled. One guy said it's not much of a problem. It was slightly overfilled. Do you agree, Rick?
On the rotors, my first thing that I will say is there are various levels of quality. If you buy the cheap rotors, odds are they're going to be warped right out of the box. And buying a better quality rotor is less likely to warp over time. But yeah, cheap rotors, they're cheap, but they're cheap for a reason. And so that's just something to be aware of. Now, on the oil fill level, if the oil is over full by just like 1/8 of an inch, a tiny little bit over that full mark on the dipstick, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to cause any problems. You're going to be just fine with that. If it's way over full by like 1/2 an inch or more, then I would say, hey, I'd be talking to the mechanic and saying, hey, look, the last oil fill, you got it over full. Maybe we should lower this just a little, or at least at the next oil change, let's make sure that we don't get it over full.
What happens when it's over full, Rick?
In extreme cases, if you get too much oil, it'll actually start to suck the oil out through the ventilation for the engine, and you'll have that oil going in and being burned in the cylinders and can cause the car to start to smoke a lot.
Oh, boy.
It can also contaminate and damage the catalytic converters by getting too much oil into those cats. And as anybody that has heard the stories with cats being stolen off your car, they are very, very expensive to replace. So, yeah, if it's only a tiny little bit over, it's not going to hurt anything.
Okay, that's what I want to know. My third thing, I suggested this many, many months ago, and you agreed that you might do this with the repair, instead of the contacting the dealership and seeing all the scams there, you were going to do the repair shops and see, how much they're scamming and overcharging. Because remember, like 6 months ago, I called in and I told you, this place said I needed, $1,300 worth of front row work, and then I really needed nothing, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see you start doing that, remember, going over that, doing those kind of things.
You mean doing mystery shops at repair shops?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I meant, yes.
Yeah, we've done a few of those in the past.
Yeah, we don't do enough.
Yeah,
Trish,
I was
you're
just
right.
gonna say.
They're difficult.
Yeah.
More difficult and time consuming, but we should do them. You're absolutely right, and the fact that you brought it up makes me think we need to get right on that. We're never going to be able to do as many service department,
Yes.
but what we have to should and will go through based on your recommendation is we take one of our used cars and we have our own technicians go over it with a fine-tooth comb and see what is wrong and what isn't wrong, and then we drive it into another independent repair shop or another dealership, and we just say, please check my car over and tell me what I need done, and that's the shopping report. So
Thanks for the suggestion
yeah,
and bringing it to light.
yes.
Again, Tricia, like Earl said, just to reiterate, we have, but we haven't really done enough. Back to your rotors, let me ask you real quick, and then we have to go. Would you say that labor and machine costs to resurface often equals or exceeds installing new rotors? Has anyone shared that with you on your journey here on wanting to know what to do?
Yeah, I think
Are you asking
it
me
can.
or Rick?
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
Pardon me?
Are you asking me or Rick?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Has anyone said to you, you said you had your to-go-to guy, has he said to you, hey, listen, resurfacing, it often equals or exceeds, installing new rotors?
Yeah, Rick said that a cheap rotor can actually be less expensive, but a cheap rotor will cost you more in the long run.
Yeah,
so.
you really need to be careful when you make that decision. That's what I was trying to get at, Tricia. Hey,
No,
Tricia.
I've gotten good rotors, and they've actually lasted. Let me see. I'm going to even tell you. Then the last time I had brakes done, brake pads were done 12/14/22. So that's quite a long.
Yes,
that's
it
quite a long time ago.
Definitely is a time to look into that. Hey, Tricia, I have calls just backed up. All the lines are lit up. So I want to thank you for encouraging the ladies to call the show, and thank you for staying with us. You're quite dedicated.
Oh,
good luck with your rotors.
Every Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. I'm going to jump ahead and take Adriana's call. She's a new caller, female caller, and I can't thank you enough for calling. She's from Singer Island. Good morning.
Yeah, I keep on getting a call.
Pardon me?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Yeah, go ahead. This is Nancy.
Is this my time to say a
I'm having a
question?
hard time hearing you.
Is this my time to say a question?
It is. First of all, I want to thank you for calling Earl on Cars and supporting the ladies. And did you hear my introduction in the beginning of the show and what an impact women have on the auto industry?
No, I missed that. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, we are an important part, and we're more or less keeping these dealers happy and fat. So our voices must be heard, and we must support each other. And I want to thank you this morning. Stay on the line, and you can speak with Jeremy in the control room. Give him your contact information, and I'll send that check out to you.
For $50.
What can we do for you this morning?
So my question is in regards to my new Kia Telluride 2022 has a BCA activation when someone is in the rear, right or left, pretty close, I guess, and it just brakes instantly. I just want to know what the purpose of that is, and if you know how to turn that off.
What's the activation that's getting?
Did you say ECA?
It's B as boy, C as in cat, and A as in adult.
The electronic control assembly?
And that's on a Hyundai, you say?
No, it's a Kia Telluride.
A Kia, okay. Let me look that one up real quick because I'm not familiar with what the BCA. Oh, blind spot. Oh, okay, that's their blind spot collision avoidance. Yeah, basically that's like our for Toyota and the other systems I've seen. That's the blind spot collision. It's the light that comes on in the mirror to let you know there's somebody up in your blind spot. And apparently Kia has a system that if you try to change lanes, it will try to avoid that collision by applying the brakes or something or not letting you do that. There probably is a system that you can turn that off, but if you're having issues that thing is turning on when there's no car there, I would have it taken in and inspected to find out if that sensor for that rear end is starting to have a problem.
Yeah, Adrian, that's a very valuable warning system, and if it's not working, obviously, as Rick says, you should get it repaired. But of all cars now have that, all the new cars, and not that exact same type, but one of the biggest savings for accidents and injuries and things like this, one of the biggest safety factors is that blind spot warning. And different cars give you different types of warning. So be sure that yours is operating properly. I would not disconnect it because it can really save you and somebody else a serious accident. But find out how to operate it, be sure it's operating properly, and it probably will be fixed under warranty because most safety features on cars tend to have 5-year warranties. And you should take it to your Hyundai dealer and discuss that with them.
So you would rather have it turned off, is what you're saying?
Well, actually, I didn't know that's what it was. It just scares me because it's like somebody's right there and it brakes really hard. So I didn't know that it was a blind spot activation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there might be it might be really working okay, and you didn't see it, but that's what it does. It activates when you are starting to move and you can't see it. So the fact that you didn't see the car doesn't mean there wasn't a car there.
Yeah, I would definitely check into your owner's manual or even the simpler method. Go on YouTube and put in just a search as to how that system operates. For the driver, so that it'll help you understand how that system is supposed to work and how it's going to protect you to help avoid accidents.
And Rick, isn't it true that you can go to the steering wheel menu?
Even Donovan says that there's usually a button down low on the dash by your knee.
Yeah, there's a little
Kia
button.
puts them there. Some other cars, they have it where it's in the dash controls, your combination meter controls, where you can turn that off. But myself, I don't recommend turning off the blind spot monitoring because it's a very valuable safety feature.
Yeah, and you can learn a whole lot more about it and, how important it is for you to keep that, Adriana. And like I said, if you go to the steering wheel, the steering wheel menu, you can scroll down and you can go through driver assistance settings, and you can take a look at all that and kind of understand how important that is to keep. And it's also important that it works.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Donovan mentions that you can turn off the assist function so that the light will still light up, but it won't activate the brakes or any of the steering controls to try to avoid the accident, but it would still give you the illumination light. Myself, I would educate yourself more on how it's supposed to work for you and be able to make a good decision as to whether you want to deactivate that or not.
And Adriana, whatever
Yeah.
you decide to do, give us a call back and keep us informed. And most of all of the ladies that are listening to you right now.
Well, thank you very much. I'll go ahead and YouTube it to understand it correctly.
Okay. And also, don't forget Jeremy in the control room. He'll get your contact information. And please, spread the word. We have a platform here, and it is for the ladies. This is just not, the old boys' school kind of a show. This is, it's the 21st century, and women's voices are being heard in the body shop, in service, whether they're going to purchase a car, whether they're going to lease a car, rent a car, anything at all. And we're supporting each other right here, Earl on Cars. We're moving forward, Adriana, so help support us.
Will do.
Thank you. Have a great day. We're going to go to Paul, who's been holding. Good morning, Paul. Paul's calling us from Lake Worth.
Oh, hi there, guys. Please forgive my laryngitis, but it's time to upset the apple cart a little.
Oh, boy.
And let me go on here. According to Google AI, the average price of a new car in the U.S. right now is $48,401. So this week, some friends and I were discussing electric versus hybrid. And I think you're failing the audience in one respect, and that is getting the best value for your money, not just negotiating the best price. So what about the average person, say a school teacher, and you just need a basic new car? We got to talking about what would be the most reliable new car that someone can buy for the lowest price and operational cost in today's market. And I understand that Earl sits there in his ivory tower, totally impressed by a $165,000 car that can do 0 to 60 in 2 seconds and almost drive itself.
1.9.
Remember, Earl, you are also driving around in the ugliest vehicle since the Pontiac Aztec. So while some people are hung up on the latest technology, I think you guys have forgotten a little bit about the good people out there who just have to go to work tomorrow. And something else. Not everyone has a garage. Not everyone lives in a house. Not everybody has a home charging station. And I think there are a lot of people out there who would like to drive an electric vehicle, but would need to utilize charging stations, which aren't cheap. So my point, in the next 5 years, yes, battery technology will go bonkers. But today, one thing Tesla owners are missing. The Tesla brand now has market competition that wasn't there 5 years ago. A lot of manufacturers now offer all electrics for less money than a comparable new Tesla. But with so many choices now, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Lexus, Chevy, Cadillac even, based on quality build alone, why would you choose a Tesla over one of the other guys? And here, case in point, the new Toyota BZ4X, the Subaru Solterra, the new electric Chevy Equinox are prime examples, all priced under $40,000, but with excellent build quality, along with a smooth, quiet, refined ride.
Hey, Paul.
The lower-priced Teslas are not smooth and quiet.
Paul.
So anyhow, I tried to figure out with my friends.
Paul, we got 5 people holding, and I'm not interrupting because I don't appreciate your being candid. Believe it, I love a guy like you that can you express your opinion. You're not timid about it. You feel strongly,
Yes.
and so I respect that. I hear you. I'm driving an expensive car. I got a garage.
Anyway, please give me one more minute.
Okay, I want to answer part of your question, and then I'll give you another minute.
We can't talk
Okay,
over each other because nobody understands that's listening.
question-
So one person at a time. Paul, you had your time. Now it's Earl's time.
Nancy, there are more good bargains today in used car lots of electric vehicles than anywhere else.
Sure there are.
Of all makes and models. So to answer Paul's question, if you want a value at a good price for a good car, and you can buy a Tesla, you can buy a General Motors product, you can buy, there's a dozen cars out there, electric vehicles, and I would go to Consumer Reports, and this is Nancy's and my Bible, and I would look for the quality electric vehicle, used vehicle. And that's what I would recommend that people, unlike me, that I can afford to buy a toy. And you're absolutely right about that. The average person, the guy that's working for a living, I'm 84. I'm not working that hard anymore. So I can play around. Okay, Paul, I'll give you another minute.
Okay. So anyway, so what I tried to break it down was that Tesla charging stations nationwide, if you don't have a driveway and a charger at home, nationwide, Tesla charging stations cost an average of $13.20 for an 80% charge on a Model Y in 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. The hybrid Toyota Corolla and the hybrid Hyundai Elantra both have an 11.1 gallon gas tank with a range of 285 miles on a fill-up. Mm-hmm. Most electric vehicles today have about a 250-mile range, so an 80% charge gives you about 200 miles.
Sure.
Bottom line, to drive 600 miles, 3 electric fill-ups at a Tesla charging station nationwide will cost you a total of about $39.60. A one-time 11-gallon fill-up on a 50-mile-per-gallon hybrid at $3.15 a gallon will cost $34.56, or about 1 cent less per mile to drive the hybrid versus the electric.
Okay, Paul, you forgot about oil changes, and a hybrid requires oil changes, and the all EV doesn't. So you had your minute, and this will probably surprise you. I agree with you. The best value on the road today is the hybrid. You pick a quality car, go to Consumer Reports, buy a hybrid, and it is a better deal than an all EV. So how do you like that? We actually agreed, and thank you very much. I hope you encourage a lot of other people to tell it like it is. So call again next week, please.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
My quick opinion on the first question he asked, what is the most reliable, reasonable price vehicle? I have two choices, a 2 to 4 year old Toyota Corolla or a 2 to 4 year old Honda Civic, either of which find one with relatively low miles and have it inspected by a mechanic, a qualified mechanic, and you will find that is going to be an incredibly reliable, economical,
hybrid,
well worth its money used car.
Hybrid or non-hybrid?
Hybrid or non-hybrid, either one.
Yeah, hybrid's better.
But you're going to find a ton of reliability in a car that's going to last you a long time for the money you're going to pay.
Okay.
And, here's another sidebar. Making, an initial purchase for an electric vehicle, let's talk about maintenance. Do you realize that it costs about $949 annually on maintenance this is with an electric vehicle, and you compare that to $1,279 for a gas-powered car. And there's,
a lot of that's oil, by the way.
Pardon me?
And a lot of that is oil.
And there's not a lot of consumers that I speak to that talk about what it's going to cost to keep a car on the road. They're more interested in a car payment or some other
You're right. Unfortunately, you're right. Yeah.
information. And you really have to, look into this because it can be costly to keep a car on the road. But that's to Paul's, comment about electric vehicles. And where do you want to spend the money? Do you want to spend the money initially, or do you want to spend it down the road where you have, a lot of maintenance and so much more? Anyway, moving along here, we're going to go to Howard, who's holding. He's a regular caller from Jupiter. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. That's a very nice presentation that guy gave, and Earl answered it very well. I have a very simple question. I'm going in for an oil change probably next week. Whenever I go for an oil change, the oil line is in the middle of the two lines, never on the end line. So can I ask my service manager to make sure it's at the end line? Is that possible?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know because every time when I spoke to the serviceman, he said to me, "We put in the amount that's called for, and if you want to be at that line, we have to top it off." So what do you? Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Well, the automatic gun that they're using to pump the oil into your engine, it'll have the number of quarts that Toyota says is the amount to refill it, but those guns also have the capability to add another 10%. So tell the technician you want them to add the oil, check the oil level, and then add as much extra as is needed to bring it up to that top line. And those guns are designed, it will give you the opportunity to add up to 10% of that amount more to bring it up to that top level.
What I was doing, I was buying that plastic oil bottle and topping it off myself. But I'll take your advice, and I won't ask any more questions because I know you backed up.
No, we love you. We love your questions, Howard. You're a real guy with real problems that most of our listeners experience the same things you are. In our dealership and most other car dealerships, to me, the biggest problem for my customers in service is having to wait too long. You got a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment. You come in there, you give the guy your car, the service advisor, and he says, I'll have this ready for you in 2 hours. 4 hours later, you missed your doctor's appointment, and everybody's upset. So the problem that we have in our service department and most car dealers' service department is we don't value the customer's time when they come in. And to me, there's nothing more, when you get to be 84 years old, time is extremely expensive in my mind. I mean, time is very valuable. I'm having signs put in the customer lounge now. You can tell me when they're finished because they're in process now, and we'll say, if your car isn't going to be ready when you were promised, please call this number. And this number, no, it's not my number, but this number goes to a special cell phone that answers questions only on service customers being made to wait too long. So you'll call this number, and coming from the top, that's me, I'm saying it will be the death sentence to anybody that does not take care of our customers and makes them wait 2 and 3 hours when they were promised half that time. So your comments are always very valuable, and I thank you for calling, Howard.
Okay, one thing, your service writer is Steve Goldberg. He's great.
Oh, he's the best, the best of the best. Thank you for that compliment. I'll tell Steve what you said.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks,
Bye.
Howard. We are going to go to John in Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning. I have a question for Rick. The auto stop feature, and people don't know what that is. When you stop to the light, that your engine stopped. Can that be, if there's not a button on the car, can that be disconnected, Rick, without any big deal involved?
It's going to depend on the manufacturer, but I'm pretty well certain that every car that has that feature has either a straightforward button on the dash somewhere, or there's a way to turn it off by going in through the infotainment system, the radio, or by the steering wheel controls for the combination meter. But yeah, 99% of them, there's a button on the dash somewhere, just a hard press button where you can turn off that auto start stop feature. And for those that aren't quite aware of what that is, it's when you're driving the car and you pull up at a traffic light. Now, this is on a normal gasoline engine car, not on a hybrid. But when you pull up to the traffic light, the engine will shut off. And then when you step on the gas, the engine restarts. And the biggest drawback to this, other than it being rather annoying and surprising, is that the battery and the starter motor both have to be a special part number. They are much more expensive, and they have a manufacturer lifespan, a recommended time in which they are to be replaced, even if you're not experiencing a problem with it.
And I think most of these, when you turn them off, they come back on again. Very few cars have a feature that you can turn off permanently, but some cars do, some cars don't.
Right. Most of them, every time you get in the car and start it up, you have to turn that feature off each time you start the car up.
Well, the reason I bring this up is the National Highway Traffic Safety Bureau is investigating 2.3 million Hondas from 2016 to 2019, the Honda Pilot, and 2015 to 2019 Acura TLX. They have so many complaints about this problem that they want to have a recall done on that car in particular. And Honda's got problems. Last year, my friend has a 2019 Honda Civic, and the recall was so serious that the fuel pump had to be replaced in the gas tank because the car would just quit suddenly. If you were on 95 or a major road, all of a sudden your car could go dead. And he waited as much as 9 months for the part to come in, or else they were calling him, tell him, do you have a quarter of a tank of gas now? No, he said, I have 3/4 or full. They said they can't take the car in. So this is some serious features, particularly involved a great car like Honda, but there's every automobile manufacturer goes through these recalls.
Toyota had a recall on our fuel pumps just a couple of years ago, and a massive one. And we were replacing fuel pumps, probably 200 to 300 of them per week for a long time. But yeah, I can honestly tell you that in 2019, when I bought the RAV4 for my wife, if it had had that start-stop technology, I'd be divorced right now. That would have been a big deal breaker. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I just want to mention it because it hasn't been a recall yet, but it's a probe because of the complaints that they have on these particular model Hondas. So I just want to bring that up. Thank God they did away with this auto stop features because it was never any good from the beginning.
No, and the cost involved, the maintenance cost of replacing that particular battery design and that starter motor was horrendous. The part prices were just almost triple in some cases.
Yep. Well, thank you for the information, and let's go on. I know you have a lot of callers.
Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, John. Thanks for staying in touch every Saturday. Have a great weekend. Ladies, if you didn't hear the information I shared with everyone this morning, about the amount of money that women have invested, it's over $300 billion a year. And that's on car purchases and maintenance. And did you know this? I mean, those numbers are staggering for sure. And over 70% of women who walk into a dealership that have been mistreated walk out. And I'll tell you what, for the dealer, if you don't realize the impact that women have financially, you're in big trouble. So all they want is their voices to be heard, they want to be respected, and they want to be dealt with like everyone else. So there you have it. It's an easy recipe for success, I would say. We are going to go to Linda. Linda's gone. Linda, give us a call back. I'll take your call as quickly as I possibly can. The lines are well lit up, all of them. We're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Welcome, Bob.
Good morning. Good morning. First, I'd like to say rest in peace, Pope Francis.
God bless.
God bless. And Rick, the fellow that called with the Hyundai Kona with the oil consumption problem,
Yep.
he's going to need a ring job. And there's a TSB. I'll give you the number. So if he's listening, it's 21-01-054M-1. And that's a manufacturing defect that he has in that vehicle. And it's 9 years old, so he's going to have to fight to get them to pay for something like
Bob,
that.
you better.
Wow.
Bob, can you repeat that?
Give that number out again, and Rick will write it down.
Yes, it's a TSB 21-01-054H-1.
Thank you.
And he can present that, get a printout, bring it down to the dealer, and he can call the manufacturer. And usually what the manufacturer will do on something like that, he'll have to fight for it. I had the same situation. I had to fight with General Motors, had North Star engine, same problem. The car was out of warranty. General Motors agreed to pay for half. It was a $6,000 job, and I had to fight the dealership to pay for the rest of it. But we negotiated it down. In the end run, it cost me $500, and they had to redo do a ring job on it. But he has a technical service bulletin on that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a common problem. And as far as burning a quart every 1,000 miles, I never heard of such a thing. I think that's, I don't know why they would even put that in the service manual, but it's crazy.
Well, they put that in as what we call weasel notes. That's their way of weaseling out of having to do anything. Let me read that number back to you one time just to make sure I've got it down here correctly. It's TSB 21-01-54 H is in hotel -1. Is that right?
No, it's 054.
054. Okay.
Yes, 1. And there's also a superseding bulletin on it. So you could pull it up. You could Google it and pull it up, and it'll tell you right there that there's a problem with the related to the heat and the rings, and it degrades the rings, and then it all gets burned up.
Bob, you just proved why what I say at the beginning of the show, the callers make the show. You just proved that fact by sharing information with other callers. You're answering questions for our listening audience as much as we are. Thank you very much for taking the time and giving us a very direct answer for a very real problem for the previous caller.
No problem. Well, like I said, I've been listening to your show for a really long time, and there's a lot of good information, and you do a wonderful job. And
Thank you.
I'm just very happy that the both of you are healthy, and
Thank you.
And I miss Stu. Where's Stu? Stu took the day off, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, well,
he has some problems.
he texted me and said he can't make it in today, and so he's got some of our grandchildren are his children are in various schools, and he has some of them visiting home right now. So you got to let him spend time with his family.
Right. I got one other thing. We were talking about used cars, trying to find a good certified used car because the new car prices were so high. But there's a dearth of cars that are coming off lease because 3 years ago there wasn't a great supply of cars. So the cars that are coming off lease that are going to be certified, there's going to be a lot of them around because they just didn't have a lot of cars years ago. So it's going to create another problem. And I think the used car prices, people are going to be surprised that the used car prices are going to be very high.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
they will.
high.
Definitely.
The good thing about that is if you're getting an off-lease situation where you have a lease car and the lease terminates in the next few months, you should definitely check the market value because, as you say, the prices of used cars are going up. You exercise your option at a much lower price, so that's money in the bank. So all you leasing people out there, be sure to check the actual cash value of your car and see how it compares with the option price, the purchase price. You'll probably find out you can make even if you don't want the car, exercise your option price, flip it, sell it after you buy it. You can make yourself $1,000, $2,000.
Absolutely. It's good advice. I think a lot of people are not smart enough to understand how their lease contract works.
Yeah, that's really important.
Very important. I think the dealers take advantage of that when you go to turn in your car. I've never leased a car because I've always thought it was a little bit too complicated.
It is, and the dealers love it because it's complicated.
The dealers love it.
Focusing on the out-the-door price.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, John.
Bye.
Focusing on the out-the-door price instead of monthly payments, knowledge is power, and there's all kind of ways to get around all of this wheeling and dealing. And I can't say enough about Consumer Reports, and Earl would definitely agree with me. Hey, as a sidebar here, anybody remember Carlos Ghosn? Anybody?
Yeah, it was the
Anybody out there? Okay, I'll bring you up to speed on Carlos. He 5 years after he escaped
he was ahead of
in
Nissan?
a crate.
He was ahead of Nissan?
That's right.
Yeah.
After 5 years when he escaped in a crate, Ghosn has a mansion and a yacht in Lebanon. And guess what he's doing? He is teaching business strategy in Lebanon. So there you go. So
Nancy's not kidding, by the way.
He landed on his feet.
He escaped a Japanese jail. He was able to get out of Japan packed in a trunk of a car. Of an airplane.
They put him in a crate and on a plane.
And now he's teaching business strategy. In Lebanon? Yeah,
very, very interesting. And Stu, everyone hopes that you feel better soon. We'll see you next Saturday. That is the sentiments of some of our callers and listeners and texters. They miss you. Okay, yes.
One quick note. This one from Negan1. He says, and Chat GTP agrees with him. He says most vehicles, if they have a sport mode, by putting the vehicle in sport mode, it will disable the auto start-stop.
Great information, Rick.
Wow. Right? The listeners make the show.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing that with us. We are going to go to John. Good morning, John. John's calling us from West Palm Beach.
Hello, John from West Palm Beach. I do have a question, and it falls right with what we were talking about. We are into our second year of a lease. We are going to keep the car and buy it. When would be the best? Do we wait till the end of the lease to keep the car and purchase it, or could I do it now? Or when would be the most opportune time? We're going to buy the car.
Your lease contract gives you, if you terminate your lease early, that hurts you financially, and they're going to demand all of the lease payments, and you just can't get out of a lease without making all the payments. So, so by keeping it to the end, your option price, the longer you keep it, well, depending on the used car market, the better the deal can be. But when you exercise that option price, the law says that you can buy it at that option price on your lease contract. There cannot be any junk fees, any dealer install accessories, any administrative fees. The only thing that you pay in addition to your purchase option price on your lease is sales tax and license plate. But almost every dealer is going to try to tell you have some extra fees that are due. And in that case, you call the leasing company and you say, I'm being flim-flam by the dealer I'm trying to return this car to, and they'll take care and be sure you get your option price pure and simple.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much.
You're
very
welcome,
welcome.
John. Thanks for tuning in. The number here is 877-960-9960. And you can also text us at 772-497-6530. I didn't mention earlier youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. It says everything. You can just say anything you want and no one will know your name. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Youranonymousfeedback.com. Linda, I do apologize. I was just getting ready to take your call and you hung up. And I don't blame you. You really have to have a lot of patience to sit back and wait. We have so many callers. We are going to go to Marty, who's calling us, and he's a regular caller from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Marty.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing
You know,
good.
I'm going to ask you the question.
Not yet. Not yet. No, haven't received anything yet.
Okay, Marty. I'm staying on them. They know me by
Okay.
my first name now.
Okay.
What can we do for you?
As a safety feature, and I don't know if Toyota changed it in the 25 Camrys, but in all my previous Camrys, when somebody was in your blind spot and you turned your turn signal on to go in that lane, the mirrors would flash, but there would not be an audible sound. And I think Toyota should put in an audible. My wife has it on a 2021 CRV, and they do have it in my Crown. But in Camrys and Avalons that I've had, they never put in an audible. It would just be a flash of the lights on the side view mirror.
Yeah, that it should be audible, but I mean, to play the devil's advocate, when you put your turn signal on, you should be looking at the mirror as you go to change lanes, and that's why they have it with it flashing. So hopefully the flashing light will get your attention. But yeah, there should be an audible beep as well. If you put a turn signal on and it detects there's a car there should be more than just a blinking light to alert you.
If you design cars and engineer cars for the way people should drive, you're not a very good manufacturer, because people don't drive the way they should drive, and that's a genius of a very safe car, is the engineers and designers realize that all of us are sloppy. They say don't use your cell phone. We do use our cell phones. Don't text. We do text. Just drive down the street and look over. If it's not tinted glass and the car beside you, the people inside the car are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So the cars today, the good cars, and Toyota should be better about that, should make it very difficult for you not to know that there's a car coming by in the blind spot. The people kid me because Nancy and I drive Teslas. Let me tell you something. I'm never going to have a problem. Nancy's never going to have a problem when a car is in our blind spot, because you're scared to. I mean, the warning you get gets your attention, so you don't do it again.
Yeah, saves lives.
Did you know that Ford actually for a while had a system where if you did not connect your driver's side seatbelt when you got in the car, the radio would not play?
That's smart.
They did that for teenagers to try to teach teenagers, buckle your seatbelt, otherwise you can't have your radio playing.
Is
Genius.
that right?
Genius.
And they did away with it. And yet that was like genius factor. But
definitely
they did away with that.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying for safety reasons, I can't see it can't cost Toyota that much to put an audible in.
Yeah. And again, this goes back to a discussion that Earl and I have had for years now. Neither of us can wait for the day when all the cars on the road, or at least the greater majority of them, are autonomous, computer controlled, and all the computers are communicating, and our lives will then be so much safer and simpler and straightforward, and take the people out of the equation for driving cars.
Yeah. Well, let's hope nobody gets into an accident because they didn't see the flash on their side mirror.
Yeah.
Good point.
Definitely. Marty, it was a
All right,
pleasure.
have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marty.
You do
You
the
too.
same. Okay, we are going to go to the Roadrunner.
Meet me.
Good morning, Roadrunner Steve.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Doing good, Steve. Doing good.
Okay, this is a question for Dr. Rick, the Automotive Surgeon General.
Oh, wow.
Wow, what a title. He's got enough pressure.
I love that. That's your new name, Rick. Automotive Service General.
No, Surgeon General.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, I got a question about key fobs. On my Nissan Sentra, it came up on my dashboard, key fob battery low. Okay?
Yep.
And then sometimes when I tried my other key fob, but the battery was dead in that, the car wouldn't even start with that. But there's also a key inside that key fob. Now, that key is just to open the car door, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I can
Yeah,
anticipate what you're going to say, and here's the answer. Take the key fob out of your pocket, hold it right up against the start button, and as long as it's within about an inch of the start button, step on the brake and press the button, and it'll operate.
Right. I put a new battery in it.
Right.
So.
And then just get new batteries when you can.
Yes. And the other thing is, when that key fob is dead and you go to put your foot on the brake will not move. It's as hard as a rock.
Yep.
With that. But the thing is, I looked on the side of my right side steering wheel column. There's a silver plastic piece there. Okay? I just noticed it now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would that have been for a key start?
It may originally. They may have just simply blanked it out, but there's going to be nothing behind it.
Okay, so the key is just to open up the door or the
Yes.
trunk thing, right?
Yes. And that's also if your battery dies on the car. Say you park your car and something happens, the battery just goes low enough that you can't get the remote to unlock the door. You can use that manual key to unlock the door so that you can open the hood and be able to jump start the car.
Right. Well, a lot of people don't know about the key and the key fob.
Yep. They've all got one. It's hidden away there.
Okay, and that guy John who washes his car motor, is he washing an old motor or a new motor? When he says
New ones, and there's a lot of folks that just they want to wash the engine compartment. And myself, I appreciate the idea that you want to get that area clean, but I still say be very, very careful when you're spraying high pressure water of any sort near any of the wiring, the electronics, the plugs, the spark plugs on the engine. You're dancing with the devil at that part, folks.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Just be careful because
because I think that would be a big amount of money to fix that when you do that.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
well, especially if a drop of water gets in one little spot and creates a little corrosion, it can take a mechanic hours and hours and hours to finally find that one little problem, and that's huge money.
Yes. So I would not recommend that to anybody.
I
On an
never
old
do.
car, I could see. I mean, you could cover the carburetor and cover the alternator, and you could go nuts in there. But I would not recommend that for a new car.
Yeah.
No.
With that. Okay, thank you, Surgeon.
Absolutely, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
We have to get him a nameplate. Thanks, Roadrunner Steve. Thanks for tuning in every Saturday morning. I have a special offer for Linda. She has called twice. And I want to let you know, Linda, we're going to have to shut the lines down and take the last of the calls. So, write a little message to yourself on a Post-it. Nancy is going to give me $50 if I call in the radio show next week. So that should be that's an incentive for you.
She can call back. It's only 9:15.
And that's right. We are going to go to George, and George is calling us from Pennsylvania, my favorite state. Good morning, George.
Hi, good morning. It's a beautiful morning here in soggy South Central Pennsylvania.
It is? Oh, wow. Wished I was
That's great. We need the rain.
Yeah.
I have a question for Rick. It's about the infotainment feature of my car. Last February 24, I bought a new Camry LE, and it took me a little while to get on the infotainment system. But we got 10,000 miles on her. We've been up and down the East Coast, north, south, east, west. But yesterday something happened that had me second-guessing myself. We were out running around, beautiful day, had the XM radio on, and I wanted to make a phone call. So I asked Siri to call a person. The phone rang. He wasn't home. I canceled the call, but I was on Apple CarPlay. Instead of going back to my music, my XM, the screen went back to the menu option. And I had to physically push the Apple CarPlay button again to get my radio back.
Ah.
That happened 2 or 3 times. Now, as I got closer to home here, I made another phone call, and it worked fine. So it had me second-guessing myself, whether I was going crazy or something. That not being normal, do these things happen, these glitches, or should I take it back to my dealer?
You're still under 3-year, 36,000. I'm betting because you've got a 1-year-old car, 2-year-old car. What I would do at your next maintenance interval, provided it's still under that 336, or if not, get in before that expires, and ask them to check to see if there are any software updates for the radio. Believe it or not, those software updates come out almost regularly, almost every couple months. There is an update anymore for the radio system. Now, a lot of these actually occur over the air. So when you're parked at home, or driving in your home area, it'll simply update straight through the internet, right to your phone, right into your car. Some of them, however, do not, and they actually require for the technician to download this update onto a USB drive and then plug that into your car, and it will upload into the radio and reset your radio that way. So that would be the first thing I would ask them about, to see if there's an update available for your particular one. And each radio is going to have its own system, and there's multiple different updates available. It's worse than Windows computers for the number of them.
George, to save your trip to the dealer, you could probably do that online and just go on chat or go on Google and say, give the year, make, model of your car, and ask if there's a technical service bulletin on this issue.
Yeah.
And then or go to, there's so much information online. I don't know how difficult it is for you to come in to see the dealer or to call the dealer, but whichever is easier for you.
Well, I'll tell you what. My dealer is 3 miles away.
Oh, that's
so
great.
I got it made.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay,
even
thanks.
if you go in at your next service, your next maintenance service, and just ask them to double check that.
Okay, doke. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, George. Give us a call again. I bet George is getting ready for football season.
As long as he sends some of that rain down here, my yard is brown.
Isn't it? I'm telling you, we need the rain. We are going to go to our favorite caller, Frank from Jupiter Farms.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Frank.
Good morning, Frank.
Hey, hi. Couple quick things. Your shows always trigger some memories of my past.
Oh, no. I hope it's good.
No, it's actually pretty good. Last week, when you mentioned about the batteries failing in your car with the new cars, the doors may not open, electric windows won't go down, and all of that. And it reminded me of an accident I had with my mom's Plymouth Barracuda back in '65.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, it was her first ever new car, and she entrusted it to her son, her only child, little Frankie. And little Frankie just was going a little too fast, like 70 miles an hour. and I hit a big puddle, and I hydroplaned backwards into a canal on 137th Avenue, right in front of where the Tamiami Airport is now, but back then there was nothing fields. As the car is sinking, the canal is pretty tight, and I make sure the speedometer is not stuck on a 70. And then I tried opening the doors. They wouldn't open because the canal walls were so close. So I cranked down the window, climbed out through the window as it sunk, and was on the roof of the car. So it triggered by, boy, today with electronics and electric windows, that would probably be your coffin, so to speak, nowadays. So there's that memory. And she was so good. This shows you the mother's love. She could care less about her car. She just wanted to make sure I was all right, and it really taught me a valuable lesson that day.
Oh, what a nice story.
Wow.
Yeah, we talked about, I believe Consumer Reports, Nancy will correct me, I believe Consumer Reports has some information about escaping a car. We talked about it, I think, last week or week before.
We did last week.
And if you want to go to Consumer Reports online or pick up a copy, they tell you how to escape a car, and it's interesting. There's a lot of changes that need to be made because some of the ways to get out, like the back seat, you have to know where a lever or a button is on the floor of the seat, under the seat. In front. I mean, the point is, when you're in a canal, you're not, you're not thumbing through a book to find out how am I going to not drown. You're on the verge of panic, and so if you have a car, you can go to Consumer Reports. You can look up your type of car, or you could probably do this online. But we all should know, with the car we drive, just what if it goes into a canal? Florida down here, the rest of you states out there, people from all over the country, Florida is covered up with canals, irrigation. And of course we got the ocean on three sides of us, and we got a huge lake in the middle, Lake Okeechobee. And at least in South Florida, you're never far from water. And every day you pick up the paper, you look on the television, go online. Some cars have gone in the water, and God help the people that don't know how to get out of the car.
Absolutely. And somebody gave one of our staff here, the panel we have, they suggested taking the headrest off the seat and use the middle prongs to break the window. And that wasn't in the Consumer Report. That was from Jonathan.
That's been proven online and Mythbusters type things. It doesn't work very well. My best advice, those little escape hammers that have a very sharp point.
Yeah, I have that in my glove box.
Yep. Because what happens is you're getting a hard impact at a very tiny point, and all the energy gets driven into that single point, and that will 99 times out of 100 shatter that window.
It really penetrates because it's so focused.
Don't be afraid to really whack it. Yeah. You got to hit that thing hard.
I could do that really hard.
Yep.
Right, Earl?
Trust me, folks, if your car goes in a canal, you are going to be panicking, and you grab that hammer, you're going to have like Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk type strength to swing that hammer. Because
Frank, I think that was in the Consumer Report May, June. I'm not sure, but we mentioned it last week, but you can go to consumerreports.org and check that out.
No, I took your advice. I had an annual subscription, so they're here. I just got to dig them out.
Yeah, dig it out. Yeah. Frank, it was a pleasure talking to you.
One more quick thing, though. This is a question for Rick, too. When we talk about the oil and things like that, I noticed that in Anne-Marie's car that I got her a couple years ago, the oil said it was low. And I said, man. And I'd look for minutes, hours, trying to find a dipstick. There's no dipsticks on a lot of these engines. You got to go through your computer, I guess, to see it because the levels. Is that pretty well the fact that a lot of cars are getting away from dipsticks?
No, that's because transmissions now have gone away from dipsticks, but there are very few engines. I know the new Toyota Supra and a couple others of the higher end BMWs and those are doing away with dipsticks. But for the most part, the cars that, well, sorry, Earl, but those of us that are the blue collar working class, the middle class, Yeah, our cars still have dipsticks.
Yeah, this is an SQ5 Audi, which was like a $90,000 payment.
Oh, okay. So you're up with Earl. All right.
I'm with Earl. But, anyway. Okay, and I noticed after the oil change, I turned where you see it on the dashboard that you got to go through the scrolls and stuff like that. That you're right, the high level line and low level line, and it was right in the middle. And I go, well, they cheaped me out of half a quart. And I said, well, you do that every oil change, they're going to have a lot extra oil at the end of the month. But again, real quick memory lane, Nancy. I used to one of my first jobs was working at Shell gas stations, pumping gas in the '60s, and the people come in. That's when you did check their tires, the oil, and all that. And they had a contest at Shell that if you sold cans of oil, you got a little bonus. You could shake the can, and if there was a plastic thing, if you got enough, you could win a fishing pole or something. So a lot of people, even though the dipstick was right adding oil, they go, no, I'll wait till next time. So then I learned the short dipstick way of it, just not pushing all the way in, showing you're down a quart and a half, and then I would sell a quart of oil. And everyone at Shell was saying, boy, Frank sells more oil than anyone in the whole system in Miami. And but it wasn't overfilling the engines. It was an interesting way of seeing with the dipsticks. But
Interesting.
Let me get back to others. So you have a wonderful weekend, then.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
You have a great weekend. We have got to get to Anne Marie's text. We've got to get to all the other texts. We really need to read. We need to go to YouTube also. I was trying to think of what else. Also, your anonymous feedback. We need to get to that. So we're going to break away from the phones. We have a whole lot more to get to. We're going to get to the mystery shopping report. Remember, you can vote. And your vote is extremely important at 772-497-6530. And that is the Dodge Jeep Chrysler in Daytona. So we're going to go over to Rick and read away.
Well, I'm going to take Anne Marie's text kind of backwards here. The first thing I'm going to start with is her little PS at the end. She says, I understand that you like to know how far your show reaches. I just want to let you know that thanks to good Wi-Fi and YouTube, I was able to stream your show when I was in, you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Hobart, Tasmania.
Oh,
recently.
get out of here.
Whoa. Wow.
Literally the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Not only around, but up and down.
What's the first part of Tanzania?
Hobart.
Tasmania.
Hobart.
Yep.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Anne Marie, you made Jonathan's month.
Now, folks,
you made him, the
for
smile
those that
on
may
his
be a
face
bit,
is incredible.
yeah, for those that might be a bit geographically challenged, Tasmania is literally right next to Australia.
Oh, boy.
This is literally the southern hemisphere and about the farthest you could get from Palm Beach County, Florida, which is where we are now, literally the other side of the planet.
That's the way I felt when we went to Tierra del Fuego.
That's, yeah.
Hobart, Tanzania. Wow.
Tasmania. Yeah. Is that incredible or what?
Wow, cool.
It is definitely incredible.
And
That's
now
scary.
for the question that she asked, she says, in your opinion, who made the biggest impact to the auto industry?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to throw my vote out for Mr. Henry Ford by producing an assembly line process.
Yeah, mass production.
To mass produce his car and bring his car literally to the masses. He produced a car that the average person could afford.
Yeah.
And I think he was the one that shut down the horse and buggy and brought automobiles to everyone.
Well, I have to tell you, I can't. I think you're right. I can't think of anybody. I mean, how could anybody have a greater impact than the guy that started it all?
Yep.
Which was we wouldn't have cars like we have today, or we might have got them later, but there'd have been another Henry Ford. But
yeah.
The first Henry Ford is got to be the most impact on the world.
Yeah. And he made the Model T affordable.
Yep.
He made it affordable for the working class that we've been talking about all morning.
I'll throw another
and he
thought
changed
out.
the world.
Even though back in the 1900s, the very early 1900s, there were models of electric cars. Literally 120 years ago, there were electric cars that you could drive with like a 4-mile range.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But Elon Musk probably has, regardless of his politics, his impact on the automotive industry, when you look around the average big city nowadays, the number of Teslas that are on the road, I think he has made the next greatest impact.
Yeah, well, he's on the list.
Here's an interesting aside. What do Elon Musk and Henry Ford have in common? The answer is a lot of people hated both of them. Henry Ford was an anti-Semite. He was, he thought Hitler was a cool guy, and that's about as low as you can go in terms of that. And now we got Elon Musk. I don't need to tell you why so many people hate Elon Musk, because they shout at me and Nancy all the time when we're driving our Teslas.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think you hit it. You answered her question perfectly. 1 and 2, Henry Ford and Elon Musk.
And what about Lee Iacocca? I mean, the list is...
Again, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, as long as we're talking, Shelby, Carroll Shelby.
Yeah.
Look what he did for cars.
Yeah, we're on the shorter time here. So.
Okay. Quick note from Jonathan in Palm Coast. He says, thanks to the internet, I listened to your show in Peru.
Oh.
Not quite Tasmania, but still. Right down in South America.
Tasmania.
It still made Jonathan
Peru.
smile.
Yeah. And a quick note here from Donovan. He says, a new company backed by Jeff Bezos called Slate Motors has unveiled a $27,000 electric vehicle pickup, an EV pickup truck. They're scheduled to be delivered by the end of 2026, and it's what they're terming a DIY truck. In other words, you order the base pickup, then pick the options that you want to buy from Slate, and you can literally install a lot of these yourself.
You can.
Donovan says that he's actually already putting in an order for one, and he says such things as the body panels can be literally unscrewed and install new body panels if one gets damaged.
What's the name of the company again?
Slate.
Slate.
Yep. And Kim Appreciates Life even brought out the idea that, isn't it interesting that Slate and Tesla are anagrams? Same letters, just rearranged a little bit. Makes you wonder, were they kind of, maybe Jeff is kind of doing a little...
I think Jeff said a sense of humor.
That could be. So, just an interesting thought. But yeah, a $27,000 pickup, which after the tax rebates for being an electric vehicle, now becomes a $19,500 pickup truck that is an electric vehicle with a 240-mile range.
Yeah. Okay, we got to move along here. What else we got? Because I know we got some more text.
Okay, here, let's see. We'll read this one straight off from Paul. He says, here's a curiosity. A friend just bought a new Hyundai at Napleton. Oh, boy. Turned out Napleton is the only local dealer participating in the Costco program. I pressed the issue, wondering how Napleton could possibly be on that program. The salesman alluded to the possibility that Napleton was sold, but the stores are still being operated by Napleton. The deal was legit. They did not try to screw her over until she landed at F&I.
Which Napleton store is this?
Napleton Hyundai.
In West Palm Beach?
I'm going to check and see if they have any others, but I think that would be the one.
I didn't know that Napleton had sold this West Palm Beach store. It wouldn't surprise me. Hyundai and all the manufacturers are after Napleton because he's an embarrassment, and the Attorney General's office is after him, and he's being chased by a lot of people. So I didn't know that store was sold, but that's good information.
Yeah. Well, according to Google, Napleton actually has 2 Hyundai locations, North Palm and West Palm Beach.
Yeah. Well, we'll check that out. We'll get Agent Lightning to shop one of those stores.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a great text.
So that's actually got us pretty well caught up on these.
Very good. Very good. Speaking of shopping and speaking of Hyundai dealers, you folks who heard the show last week, is we bought a car, literally bought a car, from Amazon through Delray Hyundai. And it was a interesting experience. The bottom line is it worked for the shopper, Agent Lightning. She got the price promised by Amazon. In addition, she got $2,300 back in a gift certificate from Amazon. We looked at the dealership. Our dealership bought the car, and after it was secretly we bought the car through Agent Lightning. So the deal was as represented. It was a good price. It wasn't the world's best price. It was a good price, and we figured that out by looking at the car that we actually bought. In fact, we have that car on our used car lot now, and we're looking at the fact that the profit on the car, as accounting for the gift certificate, was a little over $2,000 profit to the dealer, Delray Hyundai, which again was a Amazon purchase. The best thing about it was the price that Amazon gave the mystery shopper, Agent Lightning, last week was the exact price that she paid. So had it not been as good a price as she wanted, she could have shopped and compared. It was an out-the-door, bottom-line price. Only thing had to be added was sales tax and license plate. So this Amazon program, it looks really good, and we will be shopping more and more Amazon Hyundai dealers in the future.
Yeah, it makes for an interesting mystery shopping report, that's for sure. Okay, how about you two, Rick?
Well, we're pretty well caught up here. Yeah. For the most part, we are.
Okay. We are going to go to the mystery shopping report, which I told you earlier is from Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler. And they're in Daytona. And as usual, our mystery shopper, Agent Lightning, did a fantastic job. Again, you can vote. Your vote is extremely important. It's the number you can text your vote is 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Yeah, and just reminding the newer listeners, we grade on the curve, so we don't give out very many A's and we don't give very many F's, because if we gave out a lot of F's, we would really reduce your opportunity to shop dealers. So we have an approved dealer list and a not approved dealer list on earloncars.com. So think of the curve, meaning if it's a good dealership based on how all other dealers are, you give them a B. You give them a B, and B plus maybe. Every now and then, once in a very rare occasion, we do give out A's, but not too many of them. Okay, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, DJC. This is what Chrysler is now Stellantis, and this is in Daytona. I'm going to speak in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived mid-morning and started looking around the lot. Within less than 5 minutes, a salesman who introduced himself as Dimitri came out. He noticed I was looking at a special edition Jeep Wrangler model with a $24,000 addendum. You heard me right. I know you don't think it's really true, but I'll say it again. The addendum, the added BS to the Monroney label, the addendum, $24,000. It's just absolutely laughable or cryable, depending on how you're looking at it. And the salesman complimented my taste, asking what I thought of the Spider edition. So there we are, special edition Jeep Wrangler with $24,000 over sticker over at Monroney. And if you're a regular listener to the show, you know what Consumer Reports considers the worst car anywhere. and that's the Jeep. The Jeep is considered the worst car, quality, you name it, safety, all by all criteria. Consumer Reports ranks Jeep as a terrible vehicle. So if you can get $24,000 over sticker price for a terrible vehicle, what can I tell you? Continuing on as Agent Lightning, I said I love it, but not the $24,000 in added options. I replied, yeah, it's nice, but it comes with a big price tag. That's the salesperson, Dimitri. I told him I was interested in a four-door Wrangler, possibly a new 2024 model, and that I was hoping to get a good deal on a soft top for my daughter. We walked over to the section of the lot where they had more Wranglers, and I found one that I liked. We wrote down the stock number, headed inside to get the keys. As we walked through the door, another salesman was standing there. Dimitri immediately introduced us, and Aaron, the other salesman. Aaron says, "How's Dimitri doing today?" I said, "Great so far." Aaron asked for my driver's license, then pulled up the Wrangler. We were looking at it online and entered me into their computer system. Aaron came over and asked, "Do you mind if a brand new employee shadows Dimitri?" So there you go. Dimitri's an experienced person. This is a way, by as an aside, this is a way car dealers typically train their new salesmen. They come in from all previous occupations and they follow the salesman around for a month, and then if they seem like they're doing a good job, they hire them. I said, "Of course, and as long as you're going to give me a great deal on this Jeep." He laughed and said, "Definitely." While Aaron was standing there, I asked if there were any other price breaks available. He said he would have numbers ready for me when we got back. I said I would appreciate that very much. Of course, here we are in the standard operating procedure, the game. Virtually every dealership plays the game. The back and forth between the customer and the sales manager or the general manager, or sometimes they just have another salesman. But it's a back and forth. Give me an offer, I'll take it to the man. The man comes back, and then what they call a pencil the sheet, and they say, "We can't do that, but we'll do that," and blah, 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 blah. 3 hours later, you're frustrated, and you want to hang yourself, and you go home. But that's the system. We then went out front. Dimitri pulled the Wrangler around for a test drive. It's a weird setup. They have a bunch of dealerships lined up along a one-way road, and you have to drive quite a way to actually get out onto the main road. Since it's Jeep Week, I didn't even know it was Jeep Week. I wonder who named it Jeep Week. Stellantis, I'm betting. Up here, all the dealerships had their Wrangler inventory lined up along the road as advertising. The new 2024 Wrangler four-door Sport had an MSRP of $14,950. How do you have the nerve to put a $24,000 addendum on a $44,000 car? I mean, you're marking it up over 50%. For the Consumer Reports voted worst car made. Well, that's what they do. The Bernoni label was on the passenger seat. What could you expect? By federal law, they're supposed to be on the window. When delivered to the buyer, only removed at the buyer's request or by the buyer. On the passenger seat. We drove around, returned to the dealership. Neither of the salesmen seemed very knowledgeable about how the soft tops work. I had to figure out myself as I looked, but Dimitri assured me they would go over everything thoroughly before I drove away. Once we got back, we headed inside. I reminded Dimitri that Aaron had said he would have numbers ready for me when we returned. Dimitri said he probably did, and he walked over to the sales office. There were no other customers in the showroom. That'll tell you how good business is at Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealerships. He returned a few minutes later with a worksheet. Written in green Sharpie pen was the MSRP, $44,950, crossed out, and $40,455 written below it. So he said, "I could do this," and walked back over to Aaron. Aaron came back a few minutes later with another document. This one was detailed and it bore little resemblance to the handwritten offer. Price was back up to MSRP, $44,950. They added an $8.99 junk fee, then another $199 junk fee. And for your newer listeners, we started just referring to the BS extra charges as junk fees because all dealerships name them something else. They call them electronic filing fees, administrative fees, doc fees, documentary fees. They're very creative, but they're all junk fees. They're all just extra profit, hidden extra profit for the dealer. After adding it all up, they took off a $4,495 manufacturer's rebate, winding up roughly where the handwritten sheet was. We went over all the fees and asked, what do you think? I said, well, it being 2024, remember, that's a year-old car. I mean, I don't care what you say. It might be early in the year 2025, but it is a one-year-old car. When you trade that in, they're going to be looking for it as a 2024, not one that was sold at the end or beginning of 2025. It's an old car. He asked, are you planning to finance or pay cash? I said, likely financing, but I need to get going. Can you send over the terms? He replied, well, I could probably get a little more aggressive if you're financing. You regular listeners know why that is. That's because they can make more money financing the car and selling you worthless after-sale products than they can selling the car itself. So he's hoping, the salesman here is hoping that they're going to be financing. And in this case here, Agent Lightning is not going to finance. It is a 2024, and it needs to go, he said. He texted me right after he spoke with Mike, sales manager, to see what else they could do. As of the time of this writing, no text has been received, so we don't know what the follow-up would be. But there you have it. And bear in mind, this is a Hyundai dealership, and Hyundai can now be bought through. It's Dodge question. I'm sorry. I started to say it was not. It's not on Amazon right now. On Amazon, you can only buy Hyundais, and hopefully they will expand to include Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, but hasn't happened so far. So the votes, send your votes in. Grade on the curve, sparingly on A's, sparingly on F's. B, C, D are usually the ones that we see. Rick?
I've got Jonathan in Palm Coast says, with a $24,000 addendum on a $40K car, the Monroney label being misplaced, junk fees, and just a general waste of the customer's time, this dealership gets an F from me. With such an exorbitant price above the MSRP, I wouldn't even speak to a salesman. I'd see the price and run out of the dealership laughing and laughing. We've got Bob says, they should give you $24,000 to take a Jeep, and they should deliver it to your home and thank you for taking it from them. It's an F. By the way, have Agent Lightning shop a Ford dealership to see if you really get employee pricing.
Oh, that's a good idea. I saw that. Employee pricing, yeah.
Ford's been advertising that lately, so yeah. Anne Marie says, 50% markup, no Monroney label, where it should be in violation of federal law, more gamesmanship with junk fees, etc. equals F for flee this dealership to avoid a fleecing.
And that vote came from Tasmania.
I think it might have. Negan 1.
How do you like that, Jonathan?
Says a big fat F. Over here we've got T Cash says the acronym for Jeep is just empty every pocket. But that's supposed to be for repairs, not for the purchase. F. Tim Gilliland, D minus. Brian Sedlatko says D for me. Tom Steckel, D. Just about every just above Central Florida, CDJR that charges $4,328 in junk fees. Oof.
Wow.
Johnny Z. Fradley, buyers start your engines. D for Daytona. Rocky Blockatiel, F is for fail. And we'll see if you got any more coming in. Whoop.
Yeah, we need to do a show, do a show sometime on just the votes and the comments of the YouTubers.
Oh, these folks are awesome.
I mean, they are smart. They got an incredible sense of humor, and I tell you, if they can make me laugh, they're really
definitely.
good.
And I think they appear at the Comedy Corner. I really do. Not only are they smart, but they're very comical, and they just are on spot.
Joseph Kelleher says F, and it looks like we're pretty caught up on YouTube. Oh, Anne Marie says she is home now. She's already back from Tasmania. For me, I'm actually going to give them a little benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say a C, because I know Jeeps are way overpriced, but they have their following. But I don't see anything there that wasn't really out of line for any other South Florida dealership. So I'm going to say they're about average for our area.
Well, this is Daytona, so it's not exactly South Florida. That's interesting. Nancy, what's your vote?
I was just getting ready to ask you first.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a D because I agree with Rick. If it were a South Florida dealership, I might give them a C or a C minus. But the further north you move in Florida, the better quality, the more honest car dealerships we see. Most of the just absolutely terrible dealerships are in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Palm Beach County.
Yep. Oh, and Cram1624 says F. Can't find the top price. Where's the top price?
Yeah, exactly. A complete waste of time, for the customer. And what else can I say except they get an F from me?
I'm just, I forgot, I was going to mention this earlier. You regular listeners who've listened for years will probably, Rosemary Shahan will ring a bell with you. Rosemary Shahan is an incredible consumer advocate in California, and she and I talk back and forth, and it's kind of cool. We're on the East Coast, she's on the West Coast, and she's the president of CARS, C-A-R-S, Consumers for Auto Safety and Reliability. She called me the other day to tell me that California is trying to pass a law now making a $500 junk fee legal. Right now, I think it's $150. This is doubly bad, and I wrote a letter at her request to their legislature down there saying that I am totally against that. The one thing that is, if there's the worst thing about a dealer fee is the fact that it's hidden because you don't know it's going to happen. I used to think that was the worst thing. There's something even worse, what California's talking about, to make it legal and require basically the dealer to add $500 to the price of the car. That's what California's doing. So it's bad enough to hide the fee because then you can find it and refuse to pay it or shop around and find a dealer that doesn't hide their junk fees. If you're buying a car in California and this law passes, hey, at the stroke of a pen, the legislature had just raised the price of every car sold in California by $500. I can't believe. I thought the Florida legislature was bad. If this passes, something is rotten in the state of Denmark, and somebody needs to do an investigation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of reminds me of Boardwalk Empire. Nancy and I are rewatching the old TV series Boardwalk Empire, where the legislature was absolutely unbelievably corrupt.
Yes, they scalped him last night.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Quite bloody.
And we still got a couple of minutes. I know I think it was Paul called in and scolded me for our Tesla, and we drive Teslas and our autonomous driving and things like that. Well, I don't blame him. I mean, it is a toy in a way for me, but I'm also in defense of myself. I'm just a high tech. I got a high tech mind. I love gadgets. I love technology, and I love to see science accomplishments. Rick.
I missed one thing that came up on YouTube here. Donovan announced that Walmart apparently is installing their own proprietary set of chargers. They're going to be putting electric vehicle chargers at all their stores.
Wow.
4,000 Walmarts.
Wow.
That where you can plug in and charge your EV, and I'm sure they're going to be set up to where they can handle all the various models.
That's a game changer and a smart move.
Boy,
can you imagine
great
if your
news.
car, say like the Tesla Y, that he says takes 25 to 30 minutes to charge to an 80% charge from almost zero. So you pull up at Walmart, you plug your car into the charger, costs you $10, $15 to charge it up. While you're in a Walmart, you can't go into a Walmart and pick up one item and get out of there in less than 30 minutes. That'll never happen.
This interests me for two reasons. First of all, Walmart is the number one retailer in the world right now. Nipping at their heels is Amazon, number two. So here we have Walmart going into realizing the power of electric vehicles. And here's Jeff Bezos doing the same thing with Slate. So the largest retailers in the world are coming to realize you got to marry electric vehicles if you want to continue to be a big retailer.
Yeah.
So
And there's a whole lot to be said about Walmart, a whole lot. And Walmart is making a significant move, into the electric vehicle. And this charging space and everything in between, they are going to make it very easy for the consumer.
Amazing. I
It's
love
just
you.
amazing.
YouTubers are fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, quick note from Kim Appreciates Life. She says Walmart is where you can keep an RV overnight. So if you park your RV there overnight.
How smart is that?
She says we need EV RVs.
Yes, isn't that the truth? Wow. Hey, I see by the clock we have 2 minutes left. Earl, is there something real quick you want to mention?
No, I think there's a fact that we're still in awe of our autonomous Teslas, and they're still not perfected, but we're seeing through what they call the crowdsourcing, which is the way that the Tesla has gone in terms of perfecting the autonomy, is working, and we see it every day. They download into our Teslas about once a week an improvement, and we see these Tesla autonomous getting better every day. And Nancy and I go everywhere on autonomous.
Absolutely. And I never thought I'd be sitting here saying, that that's exactly what I do. Anyway, I could elaborate on a whole lot more, but we have 1 minute left. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Earl on Cars. We so appreciate you. And for the ladies this morning that tuned in and called, and to Linda, we will be back next week, same time, right here on the Oldies channel. So be with us next week and have a blessed weekend. Thank you again.